Boosie was arrested during a traffic stop here in San Diego 2 years ago.
Picture this, the courtroom air thick with tension. Boosie badass sitting there in a crisp suit, eyes locked on the judge as the gavel cracks down. 10 years. Just like that, the man who's clawed his way from Baton Rouge blocks to rap royalty finds himself staring down another decade behind bars. But hold up, was this karma circling back, or a system rigged to bury comebacks? And right on cue, like a villain in his own movie, Charleston White jumps in with a laugh that cuts deeper than any bar. What unfolds next isn't just a sentencing. It's a full-on collision of street lore, faded glory, and one guy's savage commentary that has the whole internet picking sides.
Well-known rapper with a big following on social media could be headed back to prison after he pleaded guilty to a gun charge in federal court today.
I want to put it behind me. I want to get it behind me and get on with my life. You know, it's a lot of things this case has stopped me from doing, traveling all across the world, making. So I just want to get it over with, you know.
Boosie didn't start as the guy headlining festivals. He was just a kid from the 225, dodging bullets and dreaming bigger. Born Torrance Hatch in '83, he grew up in a world where survival meant hustling corners and spitting truths too real for radio. By his teens, he'd linked with concentration camp, dropping mixtapes that captured that Louisiana grit. Tracks like Zoom, putting the city's chaos on blast. Then came the solo wave, Superstar Boosie, with hits that had clubs thumping from Atlanta to Houston. Wipe Me Down, that infectious anthem about shaking off the dirt of the day, turned him into a Southern staple overnight. Fans connected because it felt authentic, like Boosie was voicing their unspoken battles. But beneath those platinum plaques, a blueprint for trouble, where glorifying the grind blurred into living it. Little did he know, those early bars would echo in courtrooms years later.
Accept my guilty plea, I'm ready to get over it.
Fast forward to 2009, and the dream hits a brick wall harder than any beef. A SWAT raid on his home, routine search, they said, turns up weed bricks, scales, the works. Boosie gets slapped with distribution charges, and just like that, he's looking at a decade in Angola, Louisiana's infamous lockup. 10 years for what his lawyers called a setup, but prosecutors painted as a kingpin move. Inside, rumors flew. Did he flip on associates to shave time? Whispers of snitching stained his rep, turning street allies into skeptics. He poured that isolation into music smuggled out on beats. Albums like Touchdown to Cause Hell dropped while he was caged, raw with regret and rage. Released early in 2014 after Good Behavior, Boosie emerged leaner, wiser, vowing to flip the script. But scars like that, they don't fade. They just wait for the next trigger. Out and unbreakable, Boosie rebuilt like a phoenix on steroids. He rebranded to badass, leaning into fatherhood with 8 kids pulling him towards stability. Cancer scares in 2015 forced a hard pivot. Chemo sessions, weight loss, the whole fight. Yet he channeled it into motivational bars, preaching against the very traps that snared him. Tracks like Letter to the System called out injustice, and his YouTube rants went viral, positioning him as hip-hop's elder statesman. Collaborations with legends like Webby kept the checks flowing, and he even mentored young Baton Rouge talent, urging them to dodge the pitfalls he barely escaped. Fans ate it up, seeing a man evolved, trading gold chains for family portraits. It felt like redemption wrapped in a bow. Yet, in the shadows of that glow-up, old habits lingered. A loaded reminder that one wrong turn could unravel it all. Which brings us to that fateful night in May 2023, when a simple drive through San Diego spirals into nightmare fuel. Boosie's rolling with his crew, post-show vibes high, when blue lights flash in the rear view. Traffic stop. Nothing major. Or so it seems. Officers spot a black Glock tucked under the seat, loaded and ready. For anyone else, maybe a slap on the wrist. But Boosie's felon tag from 09 turns it federal. Prohibited possession, a charge that doesn't play. He bonds out quick, but the feds build a case like a house of cards. Witness statements, dashcam footage, even tying it to his lyrics as evidence of mindset. Boosie hits back on IG, calling it racial profiling, a hit job on Black success. The internet rallies, hashtag Free Boosie popping early. But cracks show, was the gun his or a setup from jealous rivals? The questions pile, pulling everyone deeper into the drama. 2 years of back and forth grind through the courts, and August 2025 marks the pivot. Boosie's team negotiates a plea, guilty to the 1 count, with prosecutors floating 2 years max, plus supervised release to keep him close to home. It feels like a win. Drop the extras, avoid trial roulette. He posts a heartfelt video, tears in his eyes, talking faith and family, hinting at health pleas for mercy. The judge, not buying the soft landing. Delays drag into September, whispers of appeals fizzling. Boosie's frustration boils over in leaks. They want me buried for protecting mine. Speculation runs wild. Would cancer history sway the bench? Or would his rap sheet seal the deal? The wait turns agonizing, fans dissecting every filing like a thriller plot. And just when hope flickers, September 20th hits like a freight train. Courtroom packed, Boosie's mom in the front row, hands clasped. The judge runs down the priors, the gun's menace, even notes kids in the car that night. 10 years, no parole shortcuts. Boosie freezes, then nods. Stoic on the outside, but posts later show the break. Alive where he chokes up, questioning God's plan. I gave my all to change, he says, voice cracking. Baton Rouge mourns online, murals popping for the fallen king. Critics pile on, saying it's poetic justice for untamed lyrics. But amid the sorrow, a wild card emerges, turning grief into gasoline. Enter Charleston White, the self-anointed conscience of the culture, who's been lurking in Boosie's blind spot for years. This Texan firebrand, with his bow tie swagger and no-filter podcasts, has made a career torching rappers who perform poverty. Their clash kicked off in 2023. White blasting Boosie's parenting amid the arrest. You teach kids to thug, then cry when the bill comes. Boosie fired back, dubbing him a grifter hiding behind activism. It's been petty shots ever since. White mocking Boosie's dreads, Boosie shading White's arrests. But post-verdict, White unleashes hell. Live on IG cackling, 10 years? That's light for all the poison you poured into heads. Enjoy the quiet. Maybe write a real apology album. He doubles down, joking about Boosie's cellmates and finally getting that timeout he needed. No mercy, pure roast mode, tying it to their beef like a victory lap. Fans erupt. Is this accountability or just bully tactics? The fallout? A storm that hasn't quit. Boosie's camp hints at appeals, citing sentencing disparities. Why him when celebs skate? Rumors swirl of White's catching heat. Anonymous threats lighting up his mentions. Hip-hop divides. Young money vets like Lil Wayne send support, while old foes nod along with White's barbs. Broader ripples question the Fed's playbook. targeting vets like Boosie? Or fair game in a gun-plagued nation? Speculation brews on prison life. Will he drop bars from the inside, like Pac? Or emerge reformed, version 3.0? White, unfazed, teases a Boosie breakdown series, betting the stress cracks him. In the end, this saga leaves you wondering, is 10 years a reset button, or the final verse in a cautionary tale? Boosie's fought shadows before, turning cages into comebacks. But White's jabs linger like echoes in an empty cell, reminding us that in hip-hop's arena, forgiveness is rarer than a clean slate. One man's fall is another's punchline, but maybe the real win is in the reflection it forces. What side are you on? Rooting for the underdog's return, or nodding at the critic's cold truth? Hit the comments. This one's far from over.